to tell you our story of why we decided to move to beautiful Venice, Florida.
And it is quite the adventure.
Yes.
Let's get started.
If you want to move to the area, make sure to call, text, or email me. My information will be in the description box below.
People are getting a hold of her every single day. We love hearing from you guys, talking to people that have been watching the videos. It's awesome to connect. If you want to know anything about the areas and living here, get a hold of her.
Before we moved to Venice, we actually moved to the Orlando area from Wisconsin. The reason why we moved to the Orlando area is because we thought we wanted to be in a bigger city, but we also thought that being in a central location would make it easy for us, if we didn't end up liking Orlando, to find a new city that we were going to call home.
We thought it'd be a good way for us to just try out Florida in general, because moving from Wisconsin, we figured it would be a big change, being away from family, being somewhere with such different weather, all the factors that go into moving to an entirely new state, especially all the way north to all the way south. Being in central Orlando definitely worked out to our advantage, because we did find out that Orlando was a little bit too hectic for us, a little bit too fast paced.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the growing pains of just moving to Florida in general, some of those changes.
One thing that we had to get used to in the Orlando area was traffic. We're from a town of about 42,000 people, pretty small town, not crazy traffic wise. The Orlando area was just overwhelming.
Yeah, hectic, busy, crazy, and just such a variety of types of drivers, aggressive drivers, slow drivers, you name it. So that was definitely a lot for us, and it made us, in a lot of ways, wonder if we made a mistake moving to Florida.
I think a lot of people feel that same way too if they move to the wrong area. That's why before moving you do want to make sure that that's the right area for you.
A good realtor can help you with that.
You just want to be clear on what you want, you know, what your must-haves are, what your deal breakers are, and that way we can help you find a city to call home. A big change for me coming from Wisconsin was the humidity, the heat. Mainly I felt it like my skin getting drier, and not only my skin but my hair. And for a lot of girls and guys for that matter, that's something that you're going to have to figure out with your type of hair, like how to take care of it so it doesn't get all frizzy.
But with that also came some pros. Keeping the windows open more of the year, wearing sandals almost all the time, almost entirely year round, with the exception of a few days, little things like that. It was both a pro and a con having that heat year round. And then also another big change for us was we decided to move to a condo. We'd never lived in a condo, we'd always lived in houses pretty much, so that was a pretty big adjustment as well. Again, if you move to Florida, maybe you're deciding that you're going to try something else, you might want to keep that in mind. Maybe it might be too big of a change. Some things about a condo we liked, but some we didn't.
Another thing we had to get used to moving from Wisconsin, where we don't have as many of those, are bugs, especially me because I just hate them.
And there's more roaches down here than up in Florida, or than up in Wisconsin. Definitely a lot more ants. But overall, I mean, some of the things that Florida gets a bad rap for, like mosquitoes and things like that, we found was actually way worse in Wisconsin. It's just different bugs.
You'll have like roaches and palmetto bugs, and there are some little black worms that are like pretty much everywhere on the sidewalk, and they can get onto like your lanai. Some can get into your home if you're not careful with, you know, the seals of your doors and things like that.
So we were in Orlando, too busy for us, weren't sure about the whole condo thing. We found ourselves kind of checking out other cities on these websites. One was Area Vibes and one was Niche, and they basically give ratings and like an A rating or a 1 out of 100 rating for different things within the city, cost of living, the schools, crime, and then just an overall grade. So we decided to start checking out some of these cities on YouTube, driving out to some of them. I'm trying to think, what are some of the ones we checked out? Cocoa Beach.
Yeah, we actually ended up taking a road trip to the Gulf Coast. We did check out Cocoa Beach on the Atlantic.
Vero Beach.
Vero. Port St. Lucie, I think we did. And then on the Gulf Coast, we went to Sarasota, we went to Venice, which is where we ended up. Bradenton. Parrish. Palmetto.
Ellington. Bonita Springs.
Bonita Springs. We did make it to Fort Myers, but I think we ended up in like North
Fort Myers. Yeah, we didn't go into actual Fort Myers. So we checked out almost the entire Gulf Coast, basically from just south of Tampa. You know, not actual Tampa. And we had checked out Tampa too as well before that trip. Definitely checked out a lot of different cities throughout that trip.
A lot of those videos are actually on the channel because we did end up taking you along with us before moving down. So you'll find a lot of those videos in this channel.
So before we even made any of those trips to check out some of the other cities, well, a lot of those trips anyway, one of the first places we did check out was Venice. So it was funny how after we made the trip to Venice and we loved the area, we loved the downtown, we loved the beach, every other city we went to afterwards, we just kept comparing it to Venice.
Yes, we did. And we would find cities that were kind of pretty that we kind of liked, but we were always like, yeah, it's pretty, but Venice has this or Venice has that. So,
or we like the style of Venice,
yes.
The feel of Venice.
Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of funny how we ended up taking that whole trip and ended up in Venice.
And we ended up making a bunch of trips back to Venice just to check out the area, a bunch of trips out here to check out houses before we made the move here. And it was not a short drive. I mean, it was 2 hours and 45 minutes of a drive, so a very long drive, but we were willing to make that trip multiple times. It tells you how much we like the area. I think some of the things that were appealing to us was obviously the downtown, the beaches, the beautiful Gulf waters, but then on top of that, it's just a very quiet small town feel, which was more our speed, more like where we came from. And I think that was a big factor for us.
And then the pandemic hit and we were stuck in a condo. And that's when we started coming to Venice, trying to check out not only the area, but trying to actually see houses. And we started driving around different neighborhoods. And then we ended up making the final decision that, yes, this is where we want to be. And we ended up making that move during the pandemic.
And one thing I want to mention is we actually were considering, because the prices were a little cheaper and you get a little more home for your price, we were strongly considering Northport because it was so close to Venice. But then we just always, again, we're comparing it to Venice, you know, then we're gonna have to make the drive to Venice because we know we're gonna want to come here all the time. That was, I think, you know, ultimately we knew in our heart of hearts, like Venice just felt like home before we even moved here, which it's so hard to explain how that could be, but it definitely just checked all the boxes for us.
What we did is we ended up making a list of pros and cons for Venice and Northport. Our pros for Venice were greater by a little bit than Northport, so that's why we ended up deciding to go with Venice. And mainly it was because we knew that if we moved to Northport, we would have to make that drive to Venice. Like, we knew we would have to do that, so that's the reason why we're like, well, if we're moving here, let's just do it. Let's just move to Venice instead.
Yeah, it was weird because I feel like despite even the pros and cons list, there was just like this gut feeling, or just like in your heart, you just knew you wanted to be here, or we wanted to be here. That's just, I don't know.
Follow your heart.
Yeah, I guess so. So then we found a place, we made the move, which was, oh man, that was kind of a nightmare in a way. Well, the move out of the condo,
yes,
because we had to park on top of a hill, carry all of our stuff down some stairs and then up some stairs because of the way the condo was set up, and then up a hill into the moving truck. Getting everything out of the condo was just a nightmare.
Just the two of us. So think about it, when you move to Florida, you don't know many people, which is where we were, you know, standing. We didn't know anyone really to help us move all of our stuff. So that's something to think about before making the move. That's why you do want to find the place that you're going to call home. You do want to find it right away, not try to move here and then make the move again.
Yeah, and I feel like here already we've made a lot more of those friends and people that we could ask for help, and they would help us in a heartbeat. And then when we finally got everything in the moving truck, and it was a pretty crazy day, but what I do remember is this: when we got to Venice and we got the truck parked into the garage, unloading it was so much easier because we had our own garage and we just threw everything in there, and we'll figure it out in the morning. And that was awesome. Being here, I will say the honeymoon period maybe is over a little bit, but I feel like the first year,
yes,
just is like every day. Like, we
enjoyed every single day of that first year.
And even now though, I would say when we go to the beach, when we go to the jetty, it's so nice to have
you're
that
still
here.
On vacation.
Yeah,
It feels like you're on vacation.
Yeah, or the Sharkies, going to the pier. Yeah, it's just something about it. It's relaxing. You feel so lucky to be here. You know, and that's not to say it's for everyone, but based on what we're telling you, if it sounds like a fit, you know, and some of the pros and cons we talked about with moving to Florida, moving to Orlando, maybe take that into consideration and watch some of our other videos too about Venice, because we do talk some more. I mean, here we're kind of just glamorizing Venice and talking about all the reasons we love it. We do have other videos talking about maybe some of the potential cons, because it isn't for everyone.
Yes. So with that being said, if you're looking to move to the area, call, text, or email me. I'll have my information in the description box below.
People get a hold of her every single day. I hear about pretty much every single person. I love hearing about it. I love hearing that you guys are watching the videos and getting a hold of her and finding the content hopefully helpful. And if you are finding it helpful, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on all notifications, leave a comment, let us know your thoughts or questions, and live breezy.